Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to the channel, Life, Home, and My Linux Journeys. This video, we're going to be talking about OpenMandriva. I have lived in OpenMandriva now since about, I believe it was February the 5th. So, today's the 20th, 15 days, barely over 2 weeks. So I thought I'd do a follow-up video. I've installed OpenMandriva natively on a hard drive, a computer, and I've lived in it now for a couple of weeks, and I've just been trying to figure it out. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye. This is their homepage. If you click on their links, you'll eventually find the wiki, and you can click on the how-tos, and this will tell you how to do a few things. Desktop presets, maintenance and repair, how to fix a broken bootloader, installation, how to create a root, home, and swap partition during the installation, which they recommend a swap partition, how to get a list of all the packages included on the ISOs. So let me go back to their homepage, minimize this, and I'm going to bring up their welcome screen. You'll be greeted with this unless you tell it not to come up on start. We went over this a little bit real quick, but this is, like I said, this is where your journey will begin. And since, let's see, desktop presets, this is what I really wanted to start with here. Okay, are you going to open, or do I have to double click you? There we go. Hope it ain't going to open twice now. All right, so we got all these different desktops that are available to you, not desktops, but these configs that are available to you that will allow your system to look like an Ubuntu or Windows 7, Mac OS, Windows 10, and Plasma. And they work really well. However, I recommend that you do this before you ever do any customization, any installation of any software. Do this in the very beginning. When you first crank up your OpenMandriva system, experiment with these, and then once you've made up your mind, then do your editing, configuring, and installing of your software that you require. I'm speaking out of experience. If I did try this, I had already set up my Plasma the way I wanted it with my quick launchers, and my systems tray was the way I wanted it. I decided to investigate these, and I clicked on Windows 7, I think. Looked at that, it told me that I had needed to log out to get the full benefit, so instead of logging out, I rebooted, came back into Windows 7. All of my customizations had been completely disregarded, and I was back basically to a raw configuration. I tried it again with Windows 10, had the same results. I didn't really like none of those, so I went back to OpenMandriva, applied it, and restarted, and I had hoped that I would have everything back where I put it. It was wrong. So I had to redo everything that I had already done, which, it's not a major deal, but it's definitely a hassle. It was definitely a learning curve. In this application, you can configure your printer, your desktop themes, a lot of stuff up here. One thing I want to open up is report a bug. It's not there. One thing I wanted to look at here was, let's see, I think it might be right here on the first one, Control Center. Well, let me open it from here. Nope, gotta go find it. Features, OM features, Control Center. So I double clicked and it opened up twice. This is their default control center, OpenMandriva, where you have a lot of controls in here that you can do. Let's just start here under software. It says install applications with the DNF Drake. Well, unless you install DNF Drake first, let's see, would that be here? graphics, internet, multimedia, development, utilities, DNF Drake. If you install that, then this will open up and you'll have this option. When you click on this to install it, it's gonna do 3 stages, and it took me literally about 30 minutes from start to finish to get that installed. I was actually wondering if it was going to be worth it, and I still wonder that. And the reason why I say that, we have DNF Dragora as a graphical package manager. We also have the Discover Store as a graphical package manager. And now, if you install DNF Drake, you'll have the third graphical package manager, which I think is a little too much. 2 would have been fine, and you'd have been done and out. Let's see, that's a package manager. That's a package manager. Here you can pick your repos. Single click on that this time, see if it'll open. There we go. And you'll pick your repos here. Now, by default, you're using the rock. Your options will be main, which is not even an option to undo it, unsupported, restricted, and non-free. I was tempted to use the unsupported, but if something went wrong, I didn't want to have to blame it on that. I wanted it to be something else. So for now, I was happy with restricted and non-free. I checked those and said, okay, and we're good. You can see here you got rolling and the cooker. Those are all different repositories. Click out of that. Got a backup utility. Let's see, hardware. Here you got display monitor, configure your printer, audio volume, Bluetooth. A lot of stuff. Local disk, configure your drives and storage. That would help you install another hard drive, I think. Let's see, that was under hardware. The networks, under system. Add yourself to groups. Desktop. All right, so here's a bug report tool. The simple shell script will help bug processes. So let's click on that, and it's going to ask me for a password. And it should tell me that it's been created. So let's go find it. It's in my home directory. Open this up, and there it is. We're going to open that up with Kate. And you can see this is a port that has every single thing to do with this computer. And I'm not sure who this is going to help, but I'm going to send it to them anyway, just to do my part. And it might change, so I'll go ahead and get rid of that for now. I'll create another one later on. Configure my system boot. Desktop icons, cute fish desktop, different desktops there. Under security, got to configure your firewall. Green check means it's on. So we got a lot of options here to get you started working in OpenMandriva. I'm going to bring up my notes here. These links right here will all be in the description below. And I think I went through, I don't think any of this changed or I added to this since my last video on OpenMandriva. Update method is DNF command line or DNF Dragora. So they're actually saying the upgrade should be done to either the command line or DNF Dragora. It's RPM package manager, platforms, VirtualBox. Let's go to that. Open that up real quick. I'm still having a problem. I have tried to install OpenMandriva on OpenMandriva or within my OpenMandriva a total of 6 different times, 3 BIOS and 3 UEFIs, following what guides I could find. I did do the partitioning. See, I got a picture of that. Let's see. And it would always fail. Always. All 6 times. This was the message that I would get. Got a little larger there. And I'm going to I found close that back out. Close this back out. And I found, let's see, where is VirtualBox? Instead of just running sudo calamaris-d for a debug, I found a command here to start Calamaris and OpenMandriva. You can go pk exec user bin calamaris. Now that just will open it, but I wanted the debug, which will include the -d. I'm going to do that, and I did that actually, and I've lost it. It's somewhere else, and I don't know. It might be on a hard drive that a portable hard drive that I back stuff up on. Anyway, if I can't find it, I'm going to create one, because I failed every single time with OpenMandriva alone. I've got two cases of Arch Linux installed, UEFI and BIOS. I got Blue Star Linux installed. I got Ubuntu Studio installed using both EFI and BIOS. And so all of these work, so it has to be something else, and I'm not sure what. On my machine that I run Fedora on, I installed it without problems, and that's what I did my video off of. I opened it up and took notes of every single option that could or would be changed, and I created it identical, and it would still fail with that same problem. I don't think it's VirtualBox, and that's the reason why I installed these other systems, just to see, and it seems to be only OpenMandriva, and I have no idea what the problem is. I'm going to make a bug report, and I will send it in. So, go back to my notes here. That was VirtualBox. Got a couple really nice commands here, and we'll open them up. Run them. All right. Give it my password. And let me open up another terminal. Go down here. And these are the same commands with the exception of the last word. Let me open up another terminal. So we got two to look at here. So this is RPM-QI. I would say that's query information for setup and the base system. Here it actually says my install date was Saturday the 5th of February of 2022. Today is the 20th. So 15 days exactly I've been in here. Those are pretty cool commands because they tell you quite a bit. I think they do. A lot of stuff. A lot of neat stuff. Here's where my results means nothing to you. All right, so let's see. That was the list when you dated. C matrix is not available in OpenMandriva, but they have a better, if you ask me, a better alternative called Neo, which is not available apparently in Fedora because I looked yesterday. Anyway, instead of C matrix, we have Neo, and if you run that, you'll see this actually looks more like the matrix that I saw on the movies than the C matrix does in the regular install, which I thought was pretty cool. You'll also find that when you're running an install command, the default is going to be no. I'll show you here how we correct that, or change that. Correct it was not the right word. And we're going to run sudo nano etc dnf.conf, and that'll open up this file. And my two entries here were fastest mirror equals true, and the default yes equals true. And that will default your system to when you go to install something and you need to verify, the default will be yes. So let me get out of here. I thought that was pretty interesting. There's some other details that you can add there if you'd like. One of the things that I always like to do is find out how to find a package list of everything I have installed. And you can do that with RPM, quick QA space QF. Well, you can read. All right, so now if we go back into my home folder, you'll see one called My Package List. We'll open that up with Featherpad. And there's a list of everything that's installed on this machine without the version numbers. No extraterraneous details. All right, that one's there. Now I also found, did I just close out my notes? I think I just closed out my notes. I'm sure I did. I did it when I closed out that file we was just looking at. Not bad. Package name. All right, so that made a folder called My Package Text. You can also create another one. What the heck was that all about? We'll run this. Now that should be back in my home folder, which I'll try not to just close out, called File Name. We'll open that up with FeatherPad. And now you'll see you have all your version numbers. So either way, you can get raw with no version numbers or with version numbers, which I think both of those will be quite useful. I've already got those on file. Let me get rid of those before I forget. All right, so that's how you get your, just close that out again. I'll try to cut most of that out so we're not wasting so much time. All right, so default, yes, file name for everything that you got installed. If you have a package that you're worried is going to get removed when you run DNF auto removes in order to clean up your system, here's how you would stop that from removing a particular package. The command would be sudo DNF mark install and then whatever the package name is. When you run that, if you ever run DNF auto remove, it will leave it alone. Okay, I found some other nice commands that really are pretty trivialist to most people. I like the Times New Roman font. It's not available apparently in OpenMandriva. It says on the internet when you do a Google search that it's included with fonts TTF Liberation. It's already installed on the system and I do not have those fonts. So if that's a deal breaker for you, then you're not going to be able to use OpenMandriva. I don't think. I might be wrong. I just really, I dedicated probably an hour looking around trying to find it and just gave up. Here's the command I'm going to use to run the debug report for installing OpenMandriva in the VirtualBox on or as host OpenMandriva. And that'll print out a debug report and I'll send that information to them. All right. So if you've made up your mind that you're going to run the rock repositories, which I'm assuming rock means solid as a rock, that's the one I'm running. If you want to update your system, then this is the command that you would run. And this is straight off of their wiki. Sudo DNF clean all, semicolon, DNF clean all, semicolon. Why does that twice? That says the same thing twice. I didn't catch that before. DNF clean all, DNF clean all, DNF repo list. I'm not sure why that's listed twice. I copied and pasted it so it should be correct. And then sudo DNF upgrade. Now, if you're running a rolling, it's a little different here. To update your rolling release, it's a little bit different here. Sudo DNF clean all, DNF clean all, DNF repo list. DNF, I wonder if that's what that's supposed to be. So the only difference here is the DNF allow erasing distro sync. So if you just stick with DNF Dragora to do your updates, you won't have to worry about all that probably. But if you want to do it in the command line in the terminal, that's the way to do it. To start with, Mugshot is not installed by default and it's not even available in the repos, or at least I haven't found it. So you'll have to use your OEM manager here, or user account settings. Go to your user, click on it, click on the image itself, and you'll have these as options to change your avatar and your username if you'd like. That way you have your user icon there. It's also there when you log in and log out. I haven't really had any problems as far as finding my software that I use to create my videos. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. If you're curious about OpenMandriva, give it a try. It seems to be solid. Not one time have I had anything just crash out on me. Other than the VirtualBox thing, I don't know. I have no words for that. I don't know how to even explain it. Explain why it won't install here, but it will install on a machine that's running Fedora natively. And I haven't tried it on an Arch machine yet. I don't know that I will. This is on a real hardware. So I want to just say that all the things that I have said about OpenMandriva, I hope it doesn't dissuade anybody from trying OpenMandriva. The truth is, I'm still impressed. It's a very beautiful system. The devs have completely everything I've looked at, I've opened. It's incredible the amount of details that are in this system, OpenMandriva. So we got KDE Plasma 5.23.5, and let's see how much memory we're using right this second. I have a hard time with that. Let me open up something I can see and understand a little better. So here we're using 2 gigabytes of RAM. And another thing that's nothing wrong, I guess, it's just a strange happening. Here you can clearly see I've given 8 gigabytes of swap, but here it's showing 17.2 gigabytes of swap. And I don't care how you do the math, 8 gigabytes of RAM does not equal 17 gigabytes of RAM. And also, it's strange that they busted up the way they do. EFI partition, I usually put that at number 1, and swap is number 2, and root partition is number 3. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's different. And it seems to be, like I said, it's been really solid. Everything you look at, you can tell that the devs or developers have put in the time and the research. It's like they were users and responded to a bunch of questions over the years and made things better. And we'll leave you with Neo. I just think this is a better implementation of C-Matrix or an implementation of the matrix than C-Matrix is. But it's not available, apparently, in Fedora. There might be, but I haven't found it yet. So that's going to close out this video. If you're interested in OpenMandriva, give it a shot. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Bye.